you have the misfortune of playing Anish Giri, then you'd like to do it with the white pieces. I did not have that pleasure in the World Rapid. He will be prepared, armed to the teeth. Will he see E4 or D4? That's a big question. Of course, Gukesh, he expects himself to win this game. He's got white against one of the elder statesmen of Indian chess. Let's just take a moment to appreciate Harikrishna. He might be at the tail end of his...
Play chess, it tried out the French defense. And it played it hundreds and hundreds of games, and they said, no, it's not good enough. Then went to the Caro and played it again. no, not enough for equality, and then went to E4, E5. But can we rewind all the way to the beginning and see, how did the game start? Obviously, we know it's a French, but as you mentioned there, Gukesh choosing an advanced variation. So remember in the World Championship, Gukesh was meeting this particular variation with knight to c3. Here it's like, no, let's go for something different.
Of course, Harikrishna's preparation would primarily concentrate on knight c3, but e5 can't come as a total surprise to him. The advance, its reputation has improved as new weapons have been found in recent years. Pantala responds with one of the main lines. Of course, the most popular move here is to deploy the queen to b6. But the British GM Gawain Jones, he, among other players, found one of those dangerous weapons that have revived the advance after queen b6. One very disquieting prospect is this move bishop d3, and the point is that if black takes on d4, white simply short castles, and who needs to recapture pawns? That's what they did in the Middle Ages. We're about development now. Very dangerous position for black. So instead, bishop d7 was played, bishop to e2 by Gukesh, knight ge7. Black focuses on minor piece development, and after short castles, we see a trade. Now, I've seen this line played with a knight coming to g6. I think Giri had a game in the World Rapid where he tried this line. The drawback of putting the knight on g6, that white has this typical positional plan g3, h4, and h5, eventually taking the knight away. So after knight f5, we already see Gukesh taking quite a bit of a thing. Not a position that I'm particularly familiar with theoretically, Yomi. Structurally, obviously, we're still in pretty normal water.
Yeah, structurally, I would say yes, but I was just going to highlight one decision that white made a move earlier, which is to castle. Because whenever I played the French advance, I had a rule of thumb that when the black knight came to e7, that was the moment for white to go knight a3. And the reason is that you really want to be meeting knight to f5 with knight to c2. So here you just go knight to a3, knight, and then c takes d4 happens, and c takes d4, then the knight comes to f5, and then you're ready to go knight c2. You just reinforce control over d4, and you play to dislodge that knight on f5 with an eventual knight to e3, or you can even go bishop to e3. It doesn't really matter. The knight's actually a great defender, great piece there on c2. And this is the way that I prefer to play it, because yeah, as you mentioned, there's g4 in the air, and I love pushing pawns, and I'm maybe not going to apologize for it anymore.
No, this is such a great point, and this is why black often deploys the knight via h6. It's precisely to discourage knight a3, because then black can trade on d4 and trade on a3. I won't bog down in the details, because we've already the train left that station. Gukesh castled. Harikrishna tries to take full advantage, and very important for newer players to realize that g4, tempting as it may be, it almost always runs into knight f5 to h4. And as one chess cliche that's said too many times goes, pawns do not go backwards. This is the best illustration, and bishop to g5 never works because knight takes f3 comes with a check. So that is why the knight is more stable than it appears. You don't have to play h5 like you do in the King's Indian. Knight to c3 by Gukesh. I quickly looked up the position. We're still in... got 32 minutes to savor this position. And I feel like he wants to make sure Harikrishna won't get his pizza. Because Gukesh's dad is probably, checking the eyes of Harikrishna. If he's there alone, that's no way to treat your second, Gukesh. What a meanie. Just...
But in fairness, Harikrishna took a long time to play queen to d6.
True.
And I gotta say, this position is almost beyond rescuing for black, because you cannot trade off queens. That's going to be a completely lost endgame. White has just too many passed pawns. In the middle game, or not the middle game, in this particular position, the black king is completely hemmed in by its rook and knight. They cannot move because of white's checkmating threat. And when you're tied up like this and barely can make a move, there's really nothing to be done. And yeah, as Daniel mentioned, the question is, will the king finish on h6 for poetic justice? There you go.
Bingo.
It's come in for the kill.
And for younger players seeking inspiration, as we see that Gukesh, professional until the end. He never hurries. He's so deliberate in his motions. He takes his time, he double checks, and he just controls the game start to finish. Does he play perfectly? No. But every part of Gukesh, and this is why I'm such a big fan, he's a consummate world champion, and he's freaking with 18-19, and yet he acts like the guy's been world champion, almost as long as Lasker was world champion, longer than Gukesh has been alive. But what a career ahead of him, and what a game.